This is probably the biggest single medical problem that's preventable. All preventable. If we just do the right thing for the kids and screen them when they're like 2, 3, 4 years old. But we don't do that. We wait until the problem happens, and then everybody, almost everybody thinks, gee, well, we can take care of that once we find it. You can't. Because these are problems that are brain related. Vision takes place in the brain, not in the eye. The eye is just a conduit of the images to the eye, to the brain. If the brain sees 2 different images coming in, it just turns off and doesn't develop in the first place for that eye. And it doesn't make any difference whether that eye is, like in my case, a different visual acuity. That's the most common form, which, by the way, is cured by a patch. $1.50 patch is the cure for this biggest cause of blindness. And then the other 2 forms, which are where the eyes are not lined up properly, where one is off to the right and the other one's looking at you. And that's called strabismus. That has to be operated on surgically. I'll show you the example of how crazy all this is in a bad way. One of my 3 children had that form. I have a different form. The other 2 had perfect vision. And nobody in my parents, nobody had problems. You see, this is how wild it is. So some of it is inherited, some of it is not inherited. A lot of it's caused by mothers eating, drinking, smoking the wrong stuff when they're pregnant. That's a big cause, especially for eye cancer, which is one of the things we can see with the screening process of ours. We use a technology that was developed by NASA to test the vision of astronauts in space. Well, it turns out that we can use the same technologies for looking at kids' eyes and seeing these problems before they get to the point where they can't be cured. And if we're doing enough of this the right way, the cost is incredibly low compared to what it costs if you take a child to a pediatric ophthalmologist. They're the only doctors that really know how to deal with these problems, but they don't like to screen kids anyway. They like to screen them because what they do is they put drops in their eyes, and nobody likes that, especially little 1- and 2-year-old kids. So they cry and they make a lot of noise, and they don't cooperate, and they can't even do it. On the other hand, when we screen the kids, they love it. Take a picture of their eye, they see themselves on what looks like a television set, and they're just fascinated. They don't want to leave. And we have nothing but cooperation from them. They take 2 or 3 pictures, they sit there, and they let us take the pictures. Anyway, it's all over in a matter of a minute. You can see all these things, the retinoblastoma, eye cancer, all these different forms of amblyopia. We can even see other retinal diseases and problems with detached retinas and all kinds of other things. In a matter of seconds, at a cost, it's a small fraction of what it costs to take a kid to a pediatric ophthalmologist. And again, they don't want to do it anyway. They rather have somebody else do the screening for them. If we have it organized to the point where it's properly funded, where we can screen with a mobile unit, we can actually someday, we haven't done this yet, we can someday get the cost down to like about $3 or $4 per child, as opposed to $200 or $300 to get your child screened by a doctor who can't even do it as well as we can. So it's an incredibly important thing that we do.